Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast YouTube channel. Hey, you are here with me for a Friday edition episode. This is episode 708. Today, I get to speak with Austin Black, the creator of Backroad Productions, his entrepreneurial agricultural business that he has started to support his cattle operation in Missouri. Really interesting discussion. Actually, a lot of things that were really interesting to me in this interview because it paralleled so closely with what I do through podcasting, with what he is doing with video production, all centered around telling agricultural stories. Very exciting interview. We'll have it starting for you right now. Austin, welcome to the show today. Thank you very much for joining me.
You bet. I'm glad to be here, Matt.
Good. I'm looking forward to speaking with you, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me on LinkedIn and connecting there. And then all of a sudden, I saw you had this business going, and I started watching your videos and seeing what you're doing, and I thought, man, you would be a great guest for the show. So I really appreciate that connection.
Well, I'm glad to connect with you, and hopefully we can share some good value on here.
I hope so, too. Well, let's do this. I always like to start off the show by introducing our guests to our audience so they know who they're listening to. If you could, just tell us all just a little bit about you personally, kind of outside of your business, Backroad Productions.
Sure. So my name is Austin Black. My wife and I live in West Central Missouri. I have a year-old daughter, and we run a small cow-calf operation along with my family. And then my wife works for Syngenta as a support specialist for some sales teams. Operate Backroad Productions, a marketing agency that specializes in photography and video storytelling for agriculture and outdoor brands.
Okay, very cool. Well, wow, lots of connections there. If you were to backtrack Syngenta, 25 years or whatever it was, to when they were called Zeneca, I worked for them back then. But
really? That's
yeah,
interesting.
I did. Selling ag chemicals way back then. I did 2 internships for them in college. And so, yeah.
Very cool.
So now how long have you and your family been involved in the cattle business?
Well, put it this way, I had my first cow when I was 2 years old, and I just turned 30 this year. So
Okay.
I've been a part of it my entire life. My great-grandparents raised cattle, so it goes back several generations, and it is in my blood for sure. Grew up showing in 4-H, pretty much always had cattle around, and just have an incredible love and passion for the industry. And I'm now fortunate enough to be able to work in the industry, as well as, have my own operation, raise a family within that lifestyle. So I love the cattle industry through and through.
Okay. And when you say a cow-calf herd, are we talking like commercial? So you guys are selling commercial in the sale ring, or how does that all work?
So we're kind of in a transition right now. Used to be commercial cow-calf, selling, weaning the calf, taking it to the sale barn shortly thereafter. In the last about 3 years, we've kind of regrouped our herd, going with some different genetics and a different program. And right now, I'm running some registered and commercial Red Angus Simmental cross cows. And we've got a small enough number right now that I'm kind of looking more at the niche markets, maybe doing some freezer beef. I've kind of tossed around the idea of maybe doing some bulls, but that market is so saturated right now. Basically, just looking for whatever provides the best dollars going back into my pocket. Maybe the sale barn, and maybe background, and maybe direct freezer beef. I try to stay progressive in my management, and every year is going to be a different year depending upon what the market does and what my cattle are doing. I kind of go wherever the money seems to put me.
Okay. Well, that's a way to stay viable, right? To get the best return on your investment, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, it's interesting that I'm talking to you and you're in Missouri. I'm going to set foot in that state for the very first time in my whole life just a week after this episode's coming out. So,
really?
I got about a week and a half after, actually. I'm going to the National Association of Farm Broadcasters, their annual conventions in Kansas City this year. So it'll be my first time in Missouri. But
Very cool.
It'll be in the big city, though, not out where you're at.
there's not a lot wrong with Kansas City. It's kind of a good place to be.
Well, great. That's great. Well, tell us about Backroad Productions. Tell us about your business, what it looks like, and what it does.
Sure. So I kind of started it as a side hustle back in 2012. I was working full-time for an ag co-op called MFA Incorporated based in Columbia, Missouri, and started doing just some side work as far as portraits, senior pictures, a little bit of farm photography. And then in the fall of 2015, I got married and left my position at MFA, moved to Southwest, West Central Missouri, and began pursuing this more full-time. We basically have two different divisions that I operate in. One is the ranch and sale promotion side, working directly with livestock producers to market their purebred cattle operations, providing photography and video for their production sales, private treaty sales, and also just promoting their operation for their website, their Facebook, doing stock photography, video marketing, things of that sort. And then the other side of it is more video marketing and branding, working with large agricultural and outdoor brands to produce cinematic video storytelling campaigns that focus on human emotion and engagement, and tying everything back into the agriculture outdoor industry. It's an industry that I've grown to love, and I love working with the people in it. And we try to really incorporate a lot of strategy within our projects. So kind of hand in hand with the visions I have is a lot of video strategy and consulting to determine exactly what the campaign should accomplish, what the right video is for that, and then how do we make that video perform to get the best results for the client.
Okay, well, right there, I think we just solved the riddle to how you and I ended up connecting, because, I mean, that's what I do with my company too, except I do it through podcasting and the spoken word, but the storytelling of the company, the content production, all of that. So you and I are running on parallel tracks, just a different set of tracks.
Absolutely. That's the great thing about story, is it can be in any medium, any form, and as long as you tell it right, it's very engaging, and people love to hear stories. I mean, it's been around for centuries, and it is by far the best communication and marketing platform any business can utilize.
So you've been doing this since 2012. How did you get your start when it came to photography and filming and things like that? Was it just a hobby, or is this something that you knew you wanted to do as a career going forward?
A little bit of both. I got into the video production actually back in junior high and high school. I was a big fan of watching hunting videos and following Realtree Outdoors and Drury Outdoors and all the big guys in the hunting industry. And I was going to produce the next Monster Bucks video. That was my goal and my passion. And I tried a little bit of that through high school and college, taping with friends and family. Realized that wasn't going to be where I wanted to go. But I fell in love with cameras through that, and with capturing that experience. One of the things that people that are avid hunters love about it is being outdoors, experiencing God's creation, and then being able to come home and tell a story about the hunt. And being able to capture that experience through video just took all those elements of that story and made it real and authentic and genuine, and you felt like you were right there in the woods with whoever was hunting. So that's kind of where I got into the video side of it. Didn't really get into the career as much until 2012. After college, I went to Wisconsin and worked for Gen X Cooperative, breeding dairy cows. And I loved it, but I quickly decided that I actually wanted to make my living with the camera.
Okay.
So I came back to Missouri and began working with MFA, and pretty much kind of learned everything on the job. I knew I wanted to be in ag and be in communications, but I had very little photography experience, and what video experience I did have, I wouldn't at this point consider professional. So it was very much on the job, learning, and grew a lot in my time there in my knowledge and my skill set, and to this day I'm learning new stuff all the time. But basically just discovered that there is such power in a image, in a picture, in a video, and when you can't communicate a message that is that engaging, it's just something that I grasped onto, and I really can't even describe why I loved it so much, outside of the fact that it just combined all those elements of sight, sound, human emotion, and engaging interest into one thing where, like I said, you feel like you're right there in that experience, even if you're not in front of the camera. You're watching it and you're involved and you're engaged. It was just an incredible way to share a message and share a story. And by applying that to the agriculture industry, agriculture has a great story to tell, and I wanted to be able to help share that story with the world. So I was able to combine the passion for the ag industry, the enjoyment and passion about using the camera, mold them together, and it's been a dream job.
Awesome. Now, you started this as a side hustle in 2012. Is this now your sole form of income, or do you also do other work in addition to this?
Still kind of on a part-time work basis. I mean, I'm full-time self-employed.
Okay.
I'd have this. I also am a freelance journalist. I write for ag publications, and then I'll have other side jobs here and there. The goal is to get this to be a true full-time job. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now.
Okay, interesting. Now, you talked about the kind of two different divisions of Backroad Productions that you've gotten started. One is doing, and let's make sure I've got this right, one is doing the sales of livestock for people and really profiling their livestock that they've got to sell. And the other one is telling the story of agricultural brands. Do I have those two divisions defined correctly?
You got the right gist of it.
Okay, very good. Which of these two, at this point in the development of this business, which of these two is the largest percentage of your work?
Right now, most of my clients are in that ranch and soap promotion division. That's kind of how I got started, was through the sale marketing, and was able to take some of those clients into just the general ranch promotion, stock photography and video. I'm still trying to get more into the video marketing side of things with agriculture brands. That's where in the future I'm heading as far as where the company's going to go. I think we'll always be engaged in the ranch and soap promotion to an extent because it's a great area to work in. It's great people, and it's a fun, easy job. There's always going to be a need for it. Moving the company forward, we're looking heavily at the video marketing and branding with the large companies. Okay.
So when it comes to the ranch and the livestock marketing, how did you go out and find your customers? How do people know that you're available to do this, and how did you get started there?
I kind of laugh whenever I think about the first client I got, and I joked with my wife the other day. He's been with me ever since I started. He's been one of my best clients, and I got to think about how I got him, and the thought came to me that I had nothing to lose whenever I pursued him. So I was a lot braver than I am now as far as prospecting.
Okay.
Basically, I just started asking people, hey, can I take pictures for your sale? Can I help you with your promotion? I had really no work to show that I knew what I was doing. All I had was my experience and my willingness to do the best job I could. I was fortunate enough to, the very first sale that I took pictures for, I knew the gentleman from previous experience, and he just gave me a chance. He knew that I had never done that particular job before, but he knew me. He knew that I had experience with cattle, and he just gave me a shot at it. And that's what kind of got me started. The client that I picked up after him has been my biggest client to date. I literally saw his ad in the paper. He was having a sale. I sent him a text, said, hey, do you need help with this sale? He didn't at that point. But he said, get back with me after the sale. I did. And it was just the right place at the right time because he needed some help on catalog design. I brought in another colleague, and kind of we teamed up on that. and started to work for him. He saw the value in the work that I did, and I was getting more experience through that service, so I was able to do a better job every sale. And really, it just came down to knowing the people, being willing to learn as fast as possible and apply what I learned, do a good job, be there on time, provide a good quality product at a good price. And then a lot of it's been word of mouth that I've been able to grow from there. Haven't grown as fast as I would like, but the clients that I have worked with have been great clients, and I think it's something that's only going to continue to grow in the years to come.
Yeah, it's funny. I've projected a bunch of things out when I first started as well, but nothing has gone as fast as I had projected or as I would like. But I was just going to look back and go, as long as I'm making progress in the right direction, I'm pretty happy with that.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the agricultural brands side for a second. So is this a new addition to your business, or is this something you've been doing all along?
A little bit of both. Since I started in 2015, I kind of came on more full-time pursuit of it anyway. That's really where I wanted to end up, is working for large agriculture and outdoor brands, just purely because that's where the better business is. And, that's in producing the type of videos that I try to produce, that's the clientele that can use that and afford it. So it's an avenue that I have been slowly pursuing since then. In about the last 2 years now, I guess, I have kind of shifted the style of video that I produce into more of a cinematic storytelling component. Before I was what you would consider a standard videographer, where I came into the shoot with a regular camcorder on a tripod, and I just, I shot events and interview, talking head, just kind of your standard video marketing type content. Since then, I've transitioned into, like I said, more of a cinematic storytelling, where I use a lot of DSLR, a lot of run and gun. It's very heavily based on a different style of shooting that focuses a lot on light, on motion, on movement, on capturing the scene in a way that tells a story beyond what your interview or your words are going to say. If you watch a movie with no dialogue, but you can still tell what's going on, you can still follow the story. That's the type of video we're shooting now. So I've transitioned that up and am looking to expand that in the agriculture and outdoor industries, because there's so much opportunity there to tell some incredible stories, especially whenever you center the story around a person and a lifestyle. People relate to other people. So if you can tell a story about someone or something and tie that back to the brand, it's much more personable to that company. It's much more relatable. People are going to engage with that. They're going to develop a relationship with that brand because they can relate to what that brand stands for, seeing it exemplified in a person. So that's why, the brand films are so powerful, because it can take a company's story and mission and message, put it into a person's character, and that becomes what you correlate with that brand.
Okay, so and I love what you're saying, because it's the same exact thing I say about podcasting. Now, let me ask you, when it comes to these brands, are you able to give me an example of a brand that either you have done a contract with, or that you've kind of got your eye on, that you would like to do a video for and tell their story through video?
So no. So to be completely transparent, right now I am in a season of producing passion projects, which are basically self-funded projects, or projects that I essentially do the work for free, and just try to get money to cover any expenses I have. Sure. The goal of that is to produce videos that replicate what I want, the type of video I want to market and sell to other brands. So I'm heavily focused on that right now. There's been a few local companies that I'm working with. I've got a horse trainer I'm working with right now.
Right.
A local cattle operation, a father-son farming operation, telling their stories and producing those videos in a manner that I can then market and pitch these larger brands. So I'm really still trying to get in with the larger agriculture brands, but doing that by producing these passion projects that can showcase the type of work that I do and, build their brand around that type of video.
Sure. Well, yeah, and I've talked about it on this show a million times, working for free. It's an essential part of developing your business, of developing your brand, your platform, everything. And, that's a part of the journey. And actually, it's a pretty fun and exciting part of the journey because you get to be so creative, and every project you complete, you put your stamp on it, and you're like, wow, where's this one going to take me? It's a really fun part of the journey when you're doing something creative.
Exactly. It's the video I did with the horse trainer. I'm still in the process of editing it, and I am so excited about how it's going to turn out because it's like nothing I've ever shot before. And I think it's going to be a video that hopefully will really capture the attention of the people that watch it and showcase a story and an emotion that you just don't see anywhere else.
Absolutely. Well, let's do this, Austin. I'm going to take a quick break, talk about one of my sponsors. When we come back, I want to ask you more about this branded video storytelling because I'm very, very interested in what you're talking about there, okay?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, and actually, you can jump in and help me with this if you want, but everybody, I'm going to be talking about Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment. They're an absolutely great sponsor of this show. They have been for a couple years now, and there's no sign of stopping. They are big supporters of agriculture, big supporters of all of you just by sponsoring this show and helping us be out there for you, 4 times a week at this point. So we are out there a lot for you, and Powder River is with us every step of the way. If you all tuned into my Tuesday episode this week, you heard me talking about that hunting trip we went on, being out on the range and seeing those crazy range cattle, and it totally brought me back to how Powder River was developed, trying to make equipment that would hold and handle those cattle so they would be safe, their stress would be reduced, and the operator's stress and safety would be reduced. And I'll tell you what, when you're out there on that open range and you are seeing the way some of those cows are acting, you get the idea of just how good that equipment has to be. So everybody, please go over to powderriver.com. Check out what they've got to offer and let your local farm and ranch retailer know that you want them to carry those green panels, chutes, sweep tubs, everything that Powder River has to offer. All right, thanks, everybody. Well, Austin, I said you could jump in. I didn't even give you a chance. I don't think I took a breath the whole time I was doing that live read. But I'm assuming you use some squeeze chutes with your cows.
Well, we've got a handmade manufactured chute that's probably about 30 years old, and we're in need of an upgrade.
Well, I'll tell you what, at least out here in the West, if you're, whenever you say Powder River, it rings true with everybody. They make great stuff. I've been to their factory.
Absolutely.
and been to their factory, toured it, seen how they do the welds, see how they put things together. And I've also bought lesser panels in the past, and they're all at the recycled place now because cows have just bent them in two. So I do everything Powder River now. But yeah. So when you get ready to upgrade, let me know, and I'll connect you over there. Definitely
sounds like a
something to look
plan.
at. All right. Well, I want to come back and talk about this branded storytelling because I'm very intrigued by it. I'm being a little bit selfish because this is in the arena of what I do. But let me ask you this. I should have framed this question earlier a little differently. So when you look forward, and I know you've got it because you're a creative person, when you look at the vision of your business, where you want it to be, where you want to be, and the brands that you want to represent, what's your at this point, you're not committed to this, but at this point, what's your top brand, your number one, where you're like, man, if I could be telling their story with my video production, I would be sitting here very satisfied going, this is where I wanted to be. Who would that be? What company, what brand?
Oh, there are so many to choose from, but I mean, one that jumps into my mind is Cabela's.
Okay.
I mean, they're the largest outdoor supplier in the world. If you get to do a job for them, in my opinion, you've made it.
Okay.
So that would definitely be a company I like to pursue on the outdoor side. As far as agriculture, I mean, again, there's so many of them. Powder River would be great. I'd love to work with Powder River. They have such a unique story, and like you were talking about, the quality of the equipment that they produce. People like to know that what they're buying is going to last them and going to be a good product, that the customer service is going to be just as high quality as the product itself. And I've noticed that, with that brand in particular, and I'm hoping I can get paid a royalty for this. They're nationally known brand for a reason. Yeah. And the ranchers that use those equipment depend on the quality. And if Powder River can tell a story about their customers, about that hard work, that determination, that passion for the industry and for producing a product that meets the demands of someone that's producing an exceptional food product, there's your story right there. So to be able to tell a story about a rancher that uses the Powder River squeeze chute would be an amazing video. To tell a story about someone who, I know Yeti is big into the brand of films right now. I'd love to work with them in telling story. They've had some films come out about cowboys and fishermen, and just the idea of being wild and being relentless and not giving up. I mean, that's the message these brands have. And if you can convey that in a video story, oh my goodness, I mean, it's powerful. So yeah, there's 3 brands for you I would love to work with.
Okay, awesome. Now, are you obviously, with what you're saying, your business, when it reaches the point that you want it to reach, you're going to be doing some traveling, because you're not going to be able to be doing all this filming from right there in Missouri.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so right now, kind of where our sights are set is what I would call, state or regional brands, companies that they maybe either haven't used video, or they have, but they want to up their game a little bit. We're at that mode where we can produce a high quality video at an affordable price and travel anywhere within the Midwest to do that. That's kind of where I want to put the business for the current time, to help those companies that they can't go out and afford a $50,000 project, but then they can maybe afford a $5,000 to $10,000 project, and help them attain the success that I know video can provide. Help them tell those stories that's going to build their business, going to grow their brand, can help them engage with their customers in a unique manner. At some point, it would be great to be able to travel across the country and work for the large national brands. Kind of where I have projected us to go is to maybe be, working with the agencies that those companies hire through. If they need a team to go out and do a smaller project or be a backup crew, something like that, that's where I think our business is really going to succeed. And right now, I think we have our sights set on those state and regional brands that are moving and going. They aren't to the level of the national brands, but they still are very productive, profitable, powerful brands that have a great story to tell.
And so when you talk about producing these storytelling videos, are you talking about filming only, or will your company help with storyboarding it, with coming up with scripts, with narration, and all of that?
We do it all, and it depends upon the client and the project, what their needs are. We offer strategy consulting, as well as in-depth pre-production planning and strategy. A lot of companies, they go to produce a video, and to them, a video is a video, and they want to showcase everything in 5 minutes. Truth of the matter is, that's not going to work 9.5 out of 10 times. So we really try to find companies that understand the power of strategy and the reason behind it, and communicate that a video has one job, one message, one audience, or it's not going to work. So if you want to go out and produce a 5-minute video that covers every aspect of your company, you're probably not going to get any results of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if we go out and produce a 60-second video that has one target audience with one message and one call to action, I guarantee you're going to see better success out of that video because it's so clear and distinct, just like watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
There's one character on one mission. They have one decision to make, and that's the end result. Same concept in video marketing and branding. So we provide everything. I mean, if a company comes to us and knows exactly what they want to produce and what they want to get from it and how they want to shoot it, and all they need us to do is take their concept, their storyboard, and show up that day and tape it, we do that. We also will help them with that entire planning process. If they know what they want to accomplish, but they don't know how the video should look, we'll work through them on the pre-production side, and we will walk through exactly how that video needs to look and what the shots need to look like, what the script should be, including all of those details that we don't really put a lot of emphasis on if we don't know how to. And if they come just like, hey, if we know we need a video, but we don't even know where to start, we'll walk them through our strategy workshop and help customize a plan that shows them exactly, based on their business and their current goals and marketing efforts, what videos are going to work for them, how they can use them, and how we can help.
Okay. So who's your competition in this space? Like, and I don't necessarily mean specific companies, but types of companies. Who's your competition in this space?
There are other small agencies throughout the country. When I say small agency, I'm talking like anywhere from probably 1 to 10 people that are kind of have this run and gun cinematic style where we show up, we shoot, we get the project done, and out the door. It's a difficult question to answer.
Well, I guess maybe I could clarify that question a little bit because in some of the work that I've done. So, for example, I hosted a podcast. Well, actually, I'm still hosting. We're going to record more episodes of a podcast called Corn Revolution, and it's for Pioneer Hybrid Seeds. And that whole project was a big eye opener to me because Pioneer had hired a marketing agency, Bader Rudder, to produce this marketing campaign, and then they incorporated the podcast into that campaign, and then they hired me to come in and be the host of this podcast and consult with them on creating a podcast and how to do that aspect of the campaign. So as you're talking about your business, I'm thinking in my frame of mind of my experience working with that marketing firm and that large company and how it all got pieced together. And I'm sitting here going, well, are you competing against marketing firms, or are you going to be working in conjunction with marketing firms and advertising agencies when it comes to developing these things?
Gotcha. Okay. It's a little bit of both. Depending upon the client, and there's some clients that I would like to pursue that are already hooked up with an agency. So I have one of two options. I can either come in and try to show them, hey, I can do the same job as they can. That's probably not going to work as well. Or I can go in and say, hey, could you set me up with your marketing agency because I would love to work with you and help them out in some regard. So there is some of that. I kind of tend to pursue the brands that aren't working with an agency just because I think I can help them get started on the right foot. And not to say that agencies don't do a good job, because there are some fantastic marketing agencies in the agriculture industry. Some of the best ones, are right here in Kansas City, just an hour north of me. And I've worked with some agencies that do an outstanding job. It's a pleasure to work with those companies. And I am working on continuing relationships with those companies. So I do a little bit of both. I try to work with agencies where there's opportunity, but I also try to be my own agency for certain clients. Maybe they don't have the budget for a large advertising agency. Maybe they just don't feel comfortable working with a company of that sort. They want to do more one-on-one type business. So really both areas is where I try to land. I definitely I will lose some business because companies I would like to work for are already with an agency.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of how it goes.
Right.
But I think that there is definitely opportunity to work with everyone and to produce the best product possible in whatever avenue is presented.
Okay. Very cool. So, I mean, you're staying kind of lean and nimble. You're able to do either. You can take on the whole project, or you can be a part of a larger campaign working with an agency.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a company that they already have an agency that they have a good relationship with,
Mm-hmm.
and they may just need someone that can go do a few quick projects here and there, kind of what I consider a B-run or B-roll operator.
Mm-hmm.
That's great to go, because then that allows me to develop relationships and connections and help tell those stories and just get out and tape, get out and have fun and play with the camera. So those are great opportunities. And then the companies that haven't gone that route, I think I can provide a lot of value through strategy, through the production side, to help them achieve the goal that they want to achieve, and maybe even at a slightly lower cost, just because of being the size shop that we are.
Got it. Okay. Very interesting. So, what did you go to college for? What did you study when you went to college?
I graduated with a double major in ag business and animal science.
Okay. Ag biz and ag science. So, I mean, you're going right down the road that well, maybe not the road you were intending when you went to college. Maybe you are, but certainly those two degrees are serving you in what you're doing now.
Yeah, I kind of joked because when I was in college, I wanted to either get into the feed, reproductive, or pharmaceutical industries, and kind of did that going to work in Wisconsin for Gen-X. And then whenever I switched gears, I made the joke that I went from breeding cows to playing with cameras.
Well, you did, but that's okay. That's great. My path has been a windy, twisty, turny deal. So yeah, yours is much straighter than mine. So don't feel bad about that at all. Well, so let me ask you this. I want to ask you this question for the listeners out there who are, maybe they've got the same thoughts, or maybe they want to do something creative in agriculture. It's not exactly the same as you, but it's along the same lines as what I do or what you do. What advice would you have for them when it comes to getting started? If they want to do something creative and they're going to have to kind of sell customers on the concept, what would you tell them about doing that?
The most important thing in this business is a good relationship. And that's something that I continually have to remind myself and work on, simply because at the end of the day, we still got to make money and have sales and retain clients. I mean, that's just a fact of business. Mm-hmm. But you still have to have a good relationship in order to make that sale and to develop that business on down the road. The best way to get started is just to look for the opportunity to, whether it's work for free or work for your expenses or whatever that looks like. Mm-hmm. Be willing to do the job, to work hard, and to do a good job, and the opportunities will present themselves. Whenever I got started, I had not done the work that I was pitching to clients. I knew what a picture of a bull for sale should look like. Mm-hmm. I knew how to run a camera. I had never taken a sale picture before. But I was willing to learn and do the best job I possibly could, and that's what mattered. If you show up, do the job, and provide quality service, that's what people care about. Mm-hmm. So developing those relationships, always be willing to learn, always be willing to adapt and to grow, and never forget that we really are, no matter what we're doing, we are in a relationship business where if you are not able to provide the results for your clients and help them achieve what they need to achieve, then it doesn't matter how good of a job you do. You've got to be able to bring results. Sure. But you also have to be able to understand what their needs are. And then you have to be able to understand that they're a person too. And sometimes the best relationship is just becoming a good friend with them. Yeah. Really understanding where they are, what they need, and how you can help them out as a friend. Mm-hmm. And one of my best clients, we become such good friends because we call each other up, we shoot each other straight. He knows I'm going to do a good job. I know he's going to be happy with how I work for him. Mm-hmm. Those relationships are priceless. Just look for the opportunity, build a relationship, and just always do the best job possible.
Okay. Yeah, that's great advice. That's really good advice. And what would you tell people about starting out when you don't have the skills that you need? How did you get around that being an obstacle or that being a barrier and holding you back?
It's kind of interesting because sometimes I wonder if I didn't give myself a bit of a crutch by not shadowing someone or going to work for someone versus going on my own. I was extremely fortunate whenever I was at MFA that I had the gentleman that I replaced. He stayed on there, and then my editor. Both of those gentlemen were very, very good photographers and taught me an incredible amount. Really helped me learn a lot and develop my skill and my craft, and put me way farther down the road than I would have been if I just came in and had to literally learn everything on my own. I mean, I have taught myself almost everything I know, whether it's just through doing it, through watching stuff online, through asking other people. I didn't go to film school. I had to teach myself. I was fortunate enough to have them mentor me. And then it's really just been being open enough to ask the right questions and admit that, or not necessarily admit, but acknowledge that you don't know everything and someone else probably has more information about it than you do. Taking positive criticism and critique about my work, asking for positive critique about my work, wanting my clients to tell me, hey, what did you like about this? What did you not like? What could I do better for you next time? They're always going to have a good opinion. And if you can take on the feedback that you get from mentors, colleagues, clients, it helps you grow so much faster than just saying, well, I know how to do this and I'm going to do what I know how to do. We can all learn from each other. We can all sharpen each other. And I found, especially in the last year or two, that if I can connect myself with fellow filmmakers, even people that are chasing the same clients as I am, we can really help each other out, and we can really, learn how to troubleshoot, learn how to do better, learn what's working, what's not working, even help each other out on a shoot. I mean, if I need some help, I might call somebody in and then say, hey, I owe you one. Thanks for giving me a hand here. If you need help on a shoot, give me a call. So there's always opportunity to build that connection, build that network and that relationship. And I think as long as you are willing to always learn and to see where improvements need to be made, you're always going to get better.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Well, let me ask you about your entrepreneurial journey. So obviously you went to work out of college. You had other employers. What turned you into an entrepreneur? What made you want to go to work for yourself?
It's kind of funny because ever since I was in high school, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, to run my own business. I think part of it comes from the fact that I like being my own boss.
Yeah.
And I say that laughing because, some of us we don't like being told what to do. And granted, that's part of it. But the other part and the bigger part of it is, I've always wanted to kind of set my own path and make something happen on my own and be the person that accomplished it, not necessarily having my name credited to it, but knowing that I'm the one that did it, knowing that I'm the one that made this happen, and being able to help others out. I've always had this desire to chase the future and to be progressive and to always strive for bigger and better. And I've had a plan in mind that if I can be an entrepreneur, can be self-employed, I basically can dictate my future. I can set my sights on where I want to go, what I want to do, how I want to impact my family, the lives of others, my own life. And it's becoming even more true in the last year or two that I can dictate how things will happen if I set, my determination on going to that goal. If I set the destination, then the directions will pop up, and I will figure out how to reach that goal, how to make that thing happen. it's great to go work for a company and have a steady paycheck, and some days I wish I had that more than others. And it's great to be a part of a bigger cause that someone else is leading and championing. And I've had the opportunity to do that, and it was great. But there's also something about being the person that made it all happen, and being the person that carved out your path, that's, made the end result possible because of hard work, determination, getting up every day and showing up and doing the job. And that's what drives me to just keep going at it, because that's my dream, and my goal is to eventually say, I did this and you can too.
Excellent. All right. What is the best piece of business advice that's ever been given to you?
Oh, man. Oh, goodness sakes. I have listened to so many people and read enough books now that it's all good. Let's see here.
To be fair, I usually give people a warning that question is coming, but I did not warn you. I did not send you these questions.
No, you didn't warn me about this one. I guess probably the thing that has shown the greatest impact, and I think is relatable to any business, you have to care about the person that you are serving, and you have to provide them value and empathy and a solution before you ever ask for money. If you cannot meet them where they are, address their problem, and provide a solution, then it doesn't matter what you're selling. It doesn't matter how long you've been in business. It doesn't even matter why you're in business. If you cannot help them and serve them and make their lives better, then who cares?
Right.
So you have to be able to understand and provide the value that your customer needs, communicate it to them, find their problem, create the solution that's going to change their life. And if you do those three things, and especially if you communicate those three things, then you will succeed, and you will have a profitable business.
Okay, great. Okay, another question I haven't warned you about. I always like to ask people about a personal habit, and here's what I mean by a personal habit. You mentioned reading a lot of books. We'll come back to that here in a second, but we all go out and we learn so we can develop skills that will help us to succeed. But there's certain things we do already that we don't need any help with. It's just a personal habit, something we would do no matter what, that helps us to succeed. What is one of those things for you?
I guess the thing that pops into my mind first is the knowledge that you don't quit till the job's done. I kind of am some of a workaholic. At least my wife will tell you that I don't ever stop. It's a detriment sometimes, but that's just how I operate.
Yeah.
So, being willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done, stay as late or get up as early. I say that I hate getting up early in the morning. I'm much more of a night owl than a morning person.
Right.
But there comes a time when you got to get up and you got to get the job done,
or
you got to stay late to get the job done, or you just have to be present and willing to complete the task. And whether that's on a location, whether that is in a meeting, whether that's just in life in general, being willing to stay till the job gets done, I think is something that has set me apart maybe, and has made clients appreciate working with me. I'm there for them, and whatever it takes to accomplish the job for them, I'll do it. Whether that means driving 8 hours to the shoot for one day, or working late to get the project done on the deadline, or moving my calendar around to accommodate a snowstorm because we all don't want to be taping bulls in minus 30 degree weather.
Right.
Whatever it takes, I'm going to do the best job I can. So just, I think, being willing to finish the job is something that has garnered me some success.
All right. Okay. You mentioned reading a bunch of books. Is there a book you could recommend for our listeners, something that you've liked or stood out that you've really been able to apply to your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, I have read a lot of books. I finished very few of them so far. But the one book I have finished, and I think is an absolute must for anybody running their own business, is Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. I read that book probably a year, 18 months ago, and it completely transformed my mindset about the finances in my business, especially if you're just getting started. I'm fortunate enough that my wife has a full-time job, and there's not as much pressure. There's still pressure, obviously.
Right.
I know some people, they have to make things work, or they're not going to pay rent, or they're not going to pay their mortgage, or they're not going to buy groceries.
Right.
Planning the finances of your business is huge to making that happen, to being prepared in times of good and times of bad. The Profit First book takes a very unorthodox look at accounting and financial management of a business, and really makes you think about how you're doing stuff. And once you implement the Profit First system, it will completely change how you manage your finances, how you budget, and how you handle just making money in your business. It changed my mindset, and it helped alleviate the stress that I had of, oh my goodness, I've got to get this job to get this check in, or I'm going to be in trouble.
Okay.
It takes care of it. So yeah, Profit First by Michael Michalowicz, absolute must read for any entrepreneur.
Great. I'm going to check that one out. I have not read that, so that's one I'm going to get going. Very good. Well, Austin, this has been great. I'm very intrigued by your business. If people out there listening, if they would like to contact you, if they would like to know more about what you do, see your videos, all of that, where should they go to be able to do that?
You bet. I'm on Facebook. Backroad Productions is on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, and as well as the company has a page on there. My website is backroad-productions.com. So check us out. I'm on Facebook all the time, LinkedIn not as much, but I would love to connect with people and visit and help tell anyone's story.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Austin. Really enjoyed hearing about your business.
Thanks for having me, Matt. Appreciate being here.
Well, thank you very much for being here, everybody. Always appreciate you joining us on our YouTube channel, and thank you very, very much. As always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.